Today's task is to build a simple screen door. I'm going to do that with 1x4s, and we're going to have simple pocket hole joinery. So we're going to cut all our pieces to length, and then we'll use the pocket hole to attach the straight rails to the stiles with a little glue, and then we're done with the door. And then we can either paint it or stain it, and then all there's left to do is to attach the screen to it and install it. So today we're going to build a screen door. So let's get started. Okay, so my two stiles on the sides of the screen door need to be 80 3/4. So I'm going to cut this to 81 because I want a nice flush cut. I'll turn around the other end and cut it to 80 3/4. Now we'll measure our 80 3/4. We'll do that one more time from the other side. Here's a quick tip for you. When you want to have the total width of your door 32.5, rather than try to guess what this is, just put your two side pieces up against each other and measure from there to 32.5, and you mark that, and then that's the length of this board that'll need to be cut. So now we know that we're going to have to cut all of our rails that exact piece right there, that size. My rails, 5 pieces, the same size. One of the things I always do when I build something with my pocket hole screws is I want to make sure that I have my depth right. So I set my jig. I drill a couple of pocket holes in my sample throwaway pieces, and I go ahead and do a joint. And I go ahead and complete this. Now these aren't cut real flush, so they're not going to be perfect, but I want to just make sure that I have everything together where I have all my pocket depth and I have the right screws. So here we go. Here we go. Oop, pulled right out. That's not good. We spun it too much. We'll have to try that again. All right, we're going to drill some pocket hole screws. So I'll come in, somewhere 3/8, ½ inch from the side. Clamp our jig down, drill away. Okay, so I used all the kick plate and the rails, so one of the things that I'm actually going to do is take my plane and put a little chamfer on all these corners. Since we know children are going to be in and out this door, we don't want anything real sharp, and these are pretty sharp edges. So we'll just do that. So it has these nice small curls, so we do this probably 5 times per corner. And it just softens it up a little bit. I mean, you can't really tell the difference, but you can feel the difference. Here's a nice pile of shavings after chamfering all the edges. That's what a nice plane will help you do. All right, so our next task to complete is to be able to take our kick plate with the pocket hole screws and screw them into the stiles and add other spacers along here. So we're going to glue and screw this and use our pressure clamp on our little Craig table to hold down these pieces while we screw it in. So let's get started. Clamp will hold these boards down so it's flush this way. We have parchment paper underneath to prevent our glue from sticking to the boards. See, that draws it up. You saw a little bead of glue squeeze out there. That means we made good contact. There we go. Since we got that screwed in, we can release this because we know that the screws are holding that in. We're not really worried about that coming loose now. So now we want to measure to see where our boards are going to go so we can put their second rail in. Okay, now we're going to put in our first rail. Okay, so what I've decided I would do is go with 5-inch spacing between the rails. So that gives a nice distance between these. So here we go. Hold that in nicely. A couple of pocket hole screws. Since I got 3 on one side, I decided I'd go ahead and try to assemble the bottom portion of it now. So I've glued these 3 and we'll clamp and screw these sequentially. So this is kind of the tricky part here. To get all these lined up and screwed at the same time. flip it around to put on the top rail.
If you touch my bowl of butter just a bowl of butter pass the cornbread if you please. I don't want no turnip greens, just a bowl of good old butter beans. See that woman over there?
Last one.
Go on with both hands in the air. She has strong recurring dreams.
With that, our door is complete.
Of good old butter
Now we have a screen door. All we need is the screen and some little hardware and hinges. They'll be ready to let in some fresh air. So while we have our door completed, we want to go ahead and give it a little finished look. And so we're going to put some pocket hole screws, covers, in the holes. So I'll show you how we do that. We just take a dab of glue, we just slide these guys in, and it doesn't take long. They'll set up here in an hour or so, maybe 2, have some lunch, then we can come back and sand them down. Here we go, a little bit of squeeze out, and we'll just wipe off that. The rest of them, that's all there is to it. Okay, now we have all our pocket hole screws sanded flush. We got the door wiped down, dusted off. Now we're ready to paint.
just a bowl of butter beans. Pass the cornbread if you please. I don't want.
Okay, so I have my screws to screw on the screen door, but they're just plain, shiny metallic color. So we want to paint the screw heads to make them closer to match the color of the frame of the screen. So the quick way and a good tip for you is just to screw them into a board like this. You can easily paint them with spray paint that way real quick, and you don't even have to touch them. And then an hour later you can undo them and you're ready to go. Okay, I got the screen door turned on edge, and I have my hinges, so I'm gonna mount those 15 inches from the top. And so I'm going to place these on here and mark them. So the first thing I'm going to do is do a little line right
Just a bowl of good old butter beans. When they lay me down to rest, don't put roses on my chest. I don't want no evergreen, just a bowl.
Okay, now we got our hinges on the door. Now it's time to put our screen on the door. So we'll position it. We'll screw our pilot holes or drill our pilot holes, and then we'll come back in and screw it in. So the key on drilling the holes for these screws is to get the drill bit size that's the size of the shank of the screw, but not necessarily the threads. And I want to be able to have just a touch of grip from the screws to be able to pull this down, so not all of the hold on is on the cap. Now we're ready to drill. Put our board under here and go to town.
I still cornbread if you please. I don't want no turnip greens, just a bowl of good old butterbean.
Now all we have left is to screw down the door. So let's line it up to our corners.
Heaven's door. There to live forevermore. I don't want no angel wings, just a bowl.
There we go, one fine looking screen door ready to be installed. So if you like our project on building a simple screen door, give me a thumbs up, come back and see me real soon.